Anybody there?
And we're waiting on YouTube.
Oh, that figures.
My YouTube monitor is still saying waiting for Folkcraft.
Yeah, mine too.
There we go.
Oh, I see an ad. So
hey, I think we're live.
Hey. Yeah, I think we are.
Yep.
Who's out there? Anybody? Say hello. Let us know if you can hear us. Hey, Jason. John? Lori? How do we sound? Can you hear us?
Okay, there we go. It just came up on my screen. Jason, John, Lori. Jason and John again. Lori again. All right. You can hear Mandy fine. Can you hear me okay? There's a weird delay. Okay,
Yeah.
Karen says sound great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. All right, well, we're going to get started then. I'm glad you all are here. Thank you very much. Normally, Mandy leads the interview. She's on the wrong side of the screen, but she's the interviewee instead of the interviewer. And that's really cool. And I appreciate Mandy being here, and I appreciate all of you all being here. Happy Friday.
Yes.
So this is not the person waving, but the other one, the good-looking one. This is Mandy Tyner. Mandy Tyner, and she's going to tell us all about herself. Most of you know a little bit about her, but most of you don't know enough. So we're going to ask her all kinds of nosy questions, and we'll see how this goes as far as being a good interview format. And just for kicks, I made up a big list of things to ask her. Hopefully she didn't see those because I wanted to all be challenging and a surprise. But I'm sure I will, John. I'm going to rake her over the coals. But the whole purpose of this is for you guys to ask questions, and that's what we're going to try to do. So let's while you're typing your questions in, they'll show up on my screen, and I'll jot them down. We'll get to them as quickly as we can. I don't have the fancy admin software that Mandy usually runs with. She's got that on her side since she's technically the host, even though I'm the interviewer. It's complicated. That's okay. Mandy, we have an awesome joy having you here, and thank you very much. Why don't you start out? Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Wow. You know, music for me started when I was about 17-ish. And this is a funny little tidbit, I guess, but I was working my first job. I didn't have a car yet. And I thought, ooh, I'm going to go buy me an electric guitar, you know? And here we go. I walk up to the store because I don't have a car yet, you know, priorities. We got to have music first. So I walk up to the music store and I buy an electric guitar and a strap. And I can't even afford to get the cord yet or an amp. So that's got to wait a couple paychecks. And I go get that a couple paychecks later. And it's an absolute failure from the beginning. You know, I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't get a book, you know, and there's no teachers or anything like that. So I'm just basically, you know, there's no internet, nothing like that. So, you know, then I meet John, and a couple years later, and we go into the military together, and he gets me an acoustic guitar for Christmas. So he also gets me some lessons. So we're out in California, stationed out there, and I go into the lessons and, you know, start learning some chords on guitar, and it was fun. But the guy teaching it doesn't really want to kind of do the music that I want to do. So I ended up quitting that after about a year. And then I basically let music leave my life really quickly there. Until I was, let's say, early 30s. We were living up here, and I wanted a banjo for Christmas. John said, she's a finger-picking savant in no time. No. But I wanted a banjo for Christmas, so John got me a banjo. See, John's good husband. He gets me musical instruments for Christmas, which I love. And so he got me a banjo, and I started playing that. After about a year of just me messing around with it, I had a class because I worked locally at the John C. Campbell Folk School here. And they let me take a class. So there was a banjo class, And I didn't know anything about it because it said it was clawhammer banjo. Didn't know anything about that style. I was playing Scruggs style. So I show up and I meet Aubrey Atwater and Elwood Donnelly, and I'm sure lots of people know them. Amazing, amazing dulcimer and banjo player there. And so I take the class and learn a little bit about clawhammer, and I see for the first time in my life a mountain dulcimer, and that was life changing for me. Not immediately, but eventually it was. She gave a concert at the end of the week, and hearing her play and sing with the dulcimer was just absolutely gorgeous to me. And a couple years later, Christmas again, I asked for a dulcimer. John gets me a dulcimer, and I start playing the dulcimer. And it was just love at first sight, really. And so fast forward a couple years, and here we are now. I love the dulcimer. There was a couple times when I couldn't have a dulcimer, just because I had some medical issues and things going on. But don't tell my banjo folks, but the dulcimer, I have a heart for the dulcimer. I really do. So there you go. That's it.
Well, that's a great answer to a innocuous question that we just learned an awful lot about you, Mandy. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, yeah.
What was I've got one question so far from the watching affiliated crew on what to call the audience, whatever
Yeah.
you guys are.
Uh-huh.
Audience, okay. Um, how did you end up connecting with Folkcraft? How did that come to be? And that question is from Nina. Thank you, Nina.
Well, hey Nina. Well, the first thing that I have to add before I answer that, my first interaction with Folkcraft was after that first dulcimer that John got me for Christmas. It was kind of it wasn't the best quality of an instrument. So I went and got one off of eBay. I want to say it was eBay, and it was a Folkcraft. So that was my first real dulcimer. That was a quality instrument. This was about 2010-ish. And wow, that was my first Folkcraft, and I knew from then on that's a quality company, makes quality instruments. So then, fast forward to 2020, actually, I started back really heavy into dulcimer, enough to where I was teaching it at this point, on YouTube with my lessons website, and all that. And I started reaching out to you, and I said, hey, can I get one of your dulcimers? And, you helped me by telling me how I could put in the Fishman preamp, Prefix Pro, that you could install it in that. And you installed it in that. And that was awesome. I still don't quite know how to use it a lot, but, from then on, I got that dulcimer, loved it, play it all the time. And that was also my first ever time trying a 1.5 fret. So that was really cool too. But that was 2020. And then 2021, I was going to be going to Black Mountain. And I sort of pitched to you this idea, hey, I think I could do lessons, weekly for your YouTube and for beginners and stuff. And I mean, a relationship was born, and I absolutely love it. And it is my honor and privilege to be doing that. I love it. So thanks, Nina, for asking that.
And Mandy asked me, how many of these lessons should we do? Should I do a dozen, a couple dozen? I said, well, indefinitely. And here it is 6 months later, she's still churning out one a week and little tidbits of knowledge that are really helpful to a lot of us. And that's totally awesome. So we're going to segue from that. And that was a great question, Nina. And I hope I don't miss anybody's questions. I'm kind of watching the screen off to one side and paying attention here.
Yeah.
So we know you play banjo. We know you play dulcimer. What else do you play?
Well, basically, I like to play anything that has strings, really, but I play mandolin. I just got a tenor guitar last Christmas, John. So I play tenor guitar also. I do play a little bit of guitar, but it's not my favorite. And I get a lot of flack from that from John. But really, anything with strings, I want to play it and try it. Seagull Merlin, that's like a stick dulcimer. Play that. I play a little bit of tin whistle. Yeah. I don't want to play a fiddle, though. The bow thing is just out there for me.
When you were a kid, did you take music lessons or play in band or choir or anything like that?
I wish I did, but no. When I was about 8, I asked for a drum set for Christmas. Christmas, always Christmas. I asked for a drum set for Christmas, and I actually got one, and it was in the garage, and it got beat on for about 5 minutes until I broke it because it was a little toy one. But no, never any lessons other than those lessons when I was about 18, 19. Can't read music, anything like that. But I'm trying to learn more music theory though. But yeah, no lessons when I was little.
Well, that's too bad because you'd have had a head start from where
I know.
you are now. You'd be farther along if you'd had more training as a child.
I know.
And
I didn't even start until I was about 32 years old, really seriously in music.
mhm.
So yeah, and I'm 33 right now. So I mean, wow, right? Look what I've done in a year.
I got to tell
Oh,
you, me in my late 50s, I can walk into a room full of dulcimer players and oftentimes be the youngest one there. That's not
yeah,
unusual. It's really pretty common.
yeah,
At 33, you would almost certainly be the youngest one there. That is kind of cool. Now
yeah,
I've not met most of your students, not
yeah,
personally. I don't have any. I've talked to a lot of these people that are in this group today, but I've not
yeah,
met them in person. I have no idea how old they are, and you can't tell on the phone.
yeah.
But but my guess is that most of them are older than you, and my guess is that a lot of them are older than me, and that's just. But 33 is kind of cool. All right.
Yeah.
Um, so you've got a very active YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come to
Oh,
be? And I
it's
know
crazy.
that's how you've met a lot of people
Yes.
because they've come across you. Tell us a little bit about that, how that works, and what you have to offer for people that don't know what you do
Yeah.
on YouTube. Not the Folkcraft
Well,
YouTube, but the Banjo
yeah, yeah,
Lemonade YouTube.
yeah.
Oh,
So
and I
I
want you to
have.
tell us too how you came up with that name.
Yes. Okay. So Benzo Lemonade that came about in 2012. I I really take my own advice in that I tell people to record their progress when they're learning an instrument. Whether they show it and make it public or not, that's fine. So I actually hijacked John's YouTube channel and was putting up banjo videos of me playing and then dulcimer videos of me playing,
Hmm.
just stuff that I had learned. And over time, I started getting questions and, hey, show me how to do this or how did you do that? So I would just come on whenever I had time and ask them, and answer them. I mean, and so I would answer the questions, and it got to be more and more and more. And in 2012, I had a little break in work where I was at home. Amber wasn't in school yet, our daughter, and so I was like, I want to start teaching people, and I was teaching people at the house also. And this is
Hmm.
on banjo at this point. I wasn't teaching dulcimer at this point. So I came up with the name because I was like, I have to name this something, and I'm going to create my own channel. And at the time, I was just looking at teaching the banjo. But I wanted to open it up to where anything would be okay. And I love lemon flavored stuff. So that's really kind of the lemon thing, the lemon theme. And so lemonade really to me is a mix of everything. So I thought I could call it Banjo Lemonade and it would just be a mix of everything. Now, I understand people get a little, sometimes they say, why didn't you call it this or that, or why does it say banjo? But, I can't really go back and change it at this point. But so that started out that YouTube channel, and I started doing just little 5 minute long, here's how you hold it, here's what you do kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun. And I got a lot of good response out of it. Fast forward several years, I'm going back to work. I don't really have time for it. It kind of laxes. Then in about 2015, I start doing it a little more, work, all this and that's going on. But I still get a lot of questions, even on the Dulcimer videos where I'm playing a song. How do you do that? Or can you show me your hands, kind of thing. So I had a break from work at the end of 2017, and I thought, I'm really going to give this YouTube thing a try. So at that point, I had like 2,500 subscribers, and I was like, I didn't have ads turned on. I didn't know anything about it, and I just said, okay, I'm going to try to make a video a week, and try to do it. So it just went from there, and I learned as I went, and I still don't know much about all the computer stuff, but I've come across and met just awesome people through it. So I kept starting to get asked questions like, "Give me tab," "Do you have tab?" I didn't have tab. I didn't write tab or do anything like that. I didn't even know really how to do it other than to do it on paper. At that point, so I started looking into that. I found Patreon, started that up. And for me, Patreon, it wasn't the best way for me to distribute my material, I didn't think. So after about a year of Patreon, I looked into starting my own website with like a subscription plan for members, stuff where I could sell my ebooks and all that stuff. And there, banjolemonade.com came out of that. So YouTube is kind of a love-hate thing for me, really. I love it. I love all the people that I've met, but it's a really crunch kind of thing. You have to upload constantly, and they want you to. So in order to get more views and, to get seen, that's what you do. But
All
yeah,
right.
that's kind of YouTube.
So you're using YouTube and your website, banjolemonade.com. Is that the website?
banjolemonade.com.
And you're using
I
those as your primary teaching mechanisms then?
Yes. Now I do teach here at the music shop when I have students. But
Hmm.
this little thing we've had the last couple of years has really prevented any kind of stuff like that from happening. So what I did was I put everything on the website, and I have beginner courses there. I have over 250 mountain dulcimer lessons, over 250 clavier banjo lessons. I have 2-finger thumb lead banjo lessons. I think I have 9 ebooks now. And I also have 2 books that are in print now. They're both mountain dulcimer, but I'm working on a clawhammer one as well. I've got a DAA dulcimer book with 17 songs, with all the tabs and audio files of me playing through it at my website. I've also got a beginning mountain dulcimer with 9 songs, 14 exercises, and 26 audio tracks. These are available in ebook format where you can just print out off the tabs at home or watch them on your screen, or printed now. So yeah, it's growing, and it's a cool thing.
That is cool. So you've got the YouTube and the in-person lessons at the music store. Where do I have to go to get these lessons?
Music to My Ears in Murphy, North Carolina. That is an awesome music shop, and Darla runs it, and she's nothing but awesome.
Sounds like a good place to visit, even if you're not planning on taking lessons. Go spend some money there. I've heard good things about these people.
Oh
How
yeah.
about Zoom and Skype and lessons like that? One-on-one lessons. Do you do any of that, or is it all pre-recorded
Well,
stuff?
at this point, I can't because I have terrible internet at home. So I can't really. None of that's reliable at my house. but we are on the list. So, but by next summer, we will be getting high-speed internet. When that happens, I pray for it to be earlier, but whenever that happens, I will be doing workshops through Zoom. I'll be doing Skype. I'll be doing the whole works at that point. But for right now, I just can't. I can't do
You don't have
it.
reliable enough internet at home to
No,
pull it off.
no.
All right. So while we're on the subject of home, I've seen several chime-ins here from some guy named John who acts like he knows you.
Oh yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Mandy that's not Dulcimer. Tell us about your family.
Okay. Well,
Here's your chance to edit. If you're ashamed of John, don't say anything about it.
funny story here. I said I was 33. It's interesting. I've been married for 30 years. Imagine that. Um, I met John in my mother's house sitting on my living room couch. I mean, how crazy is that? I was in my first semester of junior college, and I was watching a basketball game. I was into sports back then, big time. But I was watching a basketball game. The basketball game ended. I came home, and there's these two guys sitting on my couch with my roommate who is renting a room there from me and my mom. We actually worked together at the local movie theater, me and this girl, Melanie. So her cousin came to visit her and see her, where she was staying, and that is my husband John. So he was sitting there in my living room, ironically enough, playing a guitar. And I really like music, so that was just a big ooh, hi kind of moment there. So yeah, so that was just pretty quick. We dated for a very short period of time. We joined the military and went in together. They sent us all the way across the country to California, and we were living in Florida at the time. But they sent us across the country, so it was just us out there. And after we served 4 years in the military in the Air Force, and after that, I followed a career pursuit that I wanted to follow since I was a little kid, and I became a deputy sheriff. So I did that. I did that for about 6 years. I did that for 6 years until we made our way up here in the mountains, and I absolutely love it here. It's just paradise for me. It's at the corner of Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina where they meet, is where we live. And, I couldn't ask for anything better. Love it here. And I love music and I love playing. And pretty much every single day of my life, I will be playing an instrument or two or three every single day.
Well, that is cool. I've seen videos where you're sitting on your porch.
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. I love playing on the porch, and most times my audience consists of our two dogs that are either sleeping or barking, as you'll hear in the videos. So that's my normal audience.
That is a great insight into the Tyner. I never knew you were a sheriff. I never knew you were in the military. We've talked more than most of you guys have talked to Mandy. Mandy, I've talked to
Yeah.
her a little bit more than most of y'all,
Yeah.
except for maybe Lori, who probably lives in Mandy's living room. I think, I'm not sure. So anyway, Lori had a question. Said she was asking about a Galax backed dulcimer. If you
Oh
guys that don't
yeah.
know, a Galax back is named after the town of Galax, Virginia, where they came up with the idea. They take the dulcimer back when it sits on your legs. The legs damp the sound from vibrating. We've copied the idea that they came up with in Galax, Virginia, 100 years ago, probably. That there's an inside back, there's a bunch of little spacers, then there's an outside back. The outside back sits on your legs. The inside back is then free to vibrate. You get more sustain. That's what a Galax back is for you guys that don't know. And Lori W asked, do you plan on getting an instrument with a Galax back?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Lori lives up in Michigan. So she's not quite in my backyard, although that would be pretty cool. I would
She's
really
in my
like
backyard. Okay.
yeah, but yes, I do. I got to play. I think at least 3. It might have been more than that of your Folkcraft Instruments over at Black Mountain
Hmm.
last year, and the sustain that those things. It is absolutely out of this world. Yes, I would recommend anybody to get one of those. Absolutely.
Yep.
Awesome thing.
And so since we're talking about instruments, 1.5 fret, 6.5 fret, yes, no, both, neither.
Here's my philosophy on instruments, and this is generally including a dulcimer. All frets are good. That's it. I don't care. I love a chromatic banjo. I love a dulcimer. Now I do not have, nor have I played a dulcimer without the 6.5, and I absolutely want one of those someday. If I come across an old one, I'm gonna snatch it up because that is really cool, and I love that. Okay, I love the additional 6.5. And when I got that one, the Folk Roots, I want to say it's a D series. When I bought that one in 2020, oh my gosh, I had the 1.5 fret on there for the first time ever, and I absolutely love it. And recently, I built one of your cardboard kits that is a chromatic, and I've tried that out a little bit. I haven't had enough time with it. But for me, there's room in this world for every single fret combination you want to have or not have. And I'm totally okay with any of them.
Thank you. How about 3-string versus 4-string?
Okay, that's another great one. You know, I did a good video on this too, so y'all ought to check that out on my channel, where I actually reached out to Richard before and sent him a little note, and he had a great response back to me talking about this issue. Because I want to tell you something. You know, this is twofold here, really, with me. But it was not until I made the video on it that I really understood the whole philosophy behind it and why people would do one or the other. I don't have a lot of exposure to lots of people playing dulcimers. So I don't see. I mean, I'm sitting on my porch. I see me playing my dulcimer. That's it. So 4-string sounds great. I've heard 6-string dulcimers on the internet. I love that too. But for me, 3-string is my choice, and I do that because I just feel I have more speed in when I'm flat picking with it, and that totally contradicts, like for instance, a mandolin. That's 4 courses of double strings, 8 strings, and boy, they flat pick those so fast. But there's a difference there because I really want to do a lot of bends. I want to do a lot of pull-offs and hammer-ons and things. You don't see a lot of that on a mandolin. And that's because of those double course of strings. So for a beginner, I recommend taking that double string off. It's going to be easier on your fingers, and it's just going to be a lot easier to learn. If you want to hear that sound, try it. Put it on there. But for me, 3-string all the way.
All right. One of the one of the phrases that I got out of that last couple of paragraphs of Mandy answering a 30-second question in 5 minutes was no, because you gave us insight, which is, and you compared it to Madeline. Which I'm not complaining, by the way.
Yeah.
When she mentioned when she bought a Folkroots D series dulcimer in 2020.
Yep.
Mandy is like all the rest of our endorsing artists. She started out as a regular customer, and something drew me to them, Mandy, and Bing bought dozens of Folkcrafts long before he became an artist of ours, and before he became sponsored is maybe the right word. I don't know.
Yeah.
We sponsor each other. We provide benefits. I get feedback on making better instruments. They get instruments that we're experimenting with. I mean, it works. It's a benefit for everybody. But
Yeah.
Mandy, like all the rest of our endorsing artists, all six of the others, started out as regular retail customers. I have their credit cards on file to prove it. I
Absolutely.
and 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 those are people that I know are kind of committed to Dulcimer. They're committed to our Dulcimers. So what? And there was just a question just a moment ago. I did not write down the name, but you know who you are. What brought me to choosing Mandy?
Hmm.
What Mandy brought to the table was incredible instruction, incredible empathy with especially the newer players, but players in general, and a nice sense of style. Oh, there it is right there at the top of the screen. Hi, Kelly. Thank you. This is Kelly's question. Nice sense of style and nice sense of this is something that you don't have right now that I can bring to the table. And I had great teachers in Bing and Carol and John and Karen and Wendy and all the rest of them. I had great performers. But but Mandy brought a different approach to teaching than any of the rest of them had, and that's what drew me to Mandy as far as being one of our endorsing artists. And it was kind of a no-brainer. And in hindsight, it was an awesome choice. Anyway, so that was that one. So you're talking about beginners a second ago, Mandy. What was
Yep.
the very first song you played on Dulcimer?
Wow, the very first song I played would probably be Boil Them Cabbage Down. That's probably the first song I played.
Why?
Why? Well, because
Yeah.
it's easy. Easy peasy.
Yep.
You know, I do have a favorite song that I play, though.
What's that?
Anytime I pick up a new instrument, I don't care what it is, even on the tin whistle, I will pick out or tweet out Wildwood Flower. That's my favorite song. Yeah, Carter family there.
I understand you're a fan of the Carters. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Are any of them still around? Can you go here and play any of them play live at this point?
No.
Are they all gone?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
All right.
No.
Since we're talking about teaching still, teaching is an important thing to me, as I was a music educator long before I bought Folkcraft, and teaching people to play dulcimer and helping them play better is one of my goals, which is one of the big things I look for with an endorsing artist is people that are quality teachers. People that perform is nice, but being able to perform and teach is an unusual combination, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Do you have any clinics or any festivals coming up where you're going to be teaching?
Actually, I do. In a couple of weeks on August 13th. Yeah. on August 13th, down in Mount Dora, Florida, it's called the Endless Dulcimer Mini Camp, and it's under Central Florida Dulcimer Festival.com, I believe. You can still sign up and register for that. I'm going to be teaching 2 mountain dulcimer classes and 2 clawhammer banjo classes. And that's going to be a fun day. And then following that, in September, on September 17th, the 3rd Saturday in the month, I'm going to be at Folkcraft doing a workshop, and you can sign up at folkcraft.com. For that, it's going to be about a 4-hour workshop, jam session. We're gonna break bread together, and then I'm gonna do a little mini concert for y'all. So I do hope people will come to those, and I'd love to meet you and check you out. One more event I want to talk about too is not really something that anybody can come to, but I want to mention it because it's a really cool program. My daughter is homeschooled, and so we have a homeschool group that we have, and I'm going to get the privilege of teaching homeschool kids starting this year and here in a couple of weeks how to play the Mount Dulcimer. And that is just awesome, and I'm over the moon excited about that because to me there's nothing better than sharing my love of music with other people and getting them interested in it, especially the younger generations. So, yep.
Awesome, thank you. Question from one of the viewers. Nobody knows this guy. Some guy named Chuck Mosley. You guys that don't know Chuck, and if you don't know Chuck, that's your problem. Chuck is one of the premier festival organizers on the planet, in the world. He runs the Black Mountain Music Festival. It's in October in North Carolina, Black Mountain, North Carolina. One of the most amazing festivals you will ever get a chance to go to.
Yes.
Chuck just chimed in with a question, want to come back and play at Black Mountain. So here you go. He's offering you a gig, Mandy.
Yes, of course I do. Are you crazy? Yes.
All right.
Uh,
So
that's
there's
gonna
your
be.
answer, Chuck. Yep.
I got to go there last year. Chuck had me up to perform, and I had a blast. And yes, absolutely, I'd love to do that.
Awesome. All right. So I'll negotiate your pay backstage after the live stream. So no, totally joking. What is the biggest benefit for a non-musician learning to play an instrument, dulcimer included, but not necessarily dulcimer?
The
What
biggest
does
benefit.
dulcimer give to a dulcimer or guitar, mandolin, whatever, give to a non-musician? How will it improve their lives?
Okay. In one word, an all-encompassing word to me is joy.
Joy. I like it. Short answer. Cool. What is your favorite artist, or who is your favorite artist? If you go listen to music, who do you listen to? And Mandy's screen is frozen. Hopefully my screen is not frozen. Oh, there we just got some text back. Can anybody hear me? Chime in with a comment if you can, please. All right, Mandy's now off the screen. All right. John says she's rejoining, so you get to see the wide Richard instead of the skinny Richard, which is good. All right. So, yeah, it looks like Mandy will be back. She mentioned that they're having power failure or power issues there and a storm coming through. Thank you, Mary Ellen. So hopefully she'll be rebooted. Oh, there she is. Better quit saying all those mean things about Mandy then. Okay, she's back now. All
Oh,
right.
apparently we're having internet issues with this storm. I'm sorry
Yep.
about that.
That's good. Welcome back. So anyway, so who is your favorite artist?
Okay, well, you know, it's so hard for me to answer these short. Um,
You can give
I've
us your
never been
top
on this
three.
side of it before. Okay, the problem is, if you know me, I literally, if I'm not playing music, I'm listening to music and watching players. So yeah, John has answered it for everybody. Dolly Parton. Um, Dolly Parton is absolutely the queen of everything to me. So Dolly Parton. If you want to talk dulcimer players, now I love talking about dulcimer players too. But that would be in no particular order because I love them all. Mr. Steven Seifert, Aaron O'Rourke, Sarah Morgan, Bing Fudge, Dave Haas. I love them all. I love watching them perform and play. It's just a joy. Uh, Jason says, okay, besides Dolly. No, there's nobody besides Dolly.
The new Steve Eulberg book that came out a couple of weeks ago has Jolene in it.
Yes, it
So there you
does.
go.
And
That's a
and
good one.
and guess if I've already played it or not. Of
Oh, you
course I
have.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What was the best concert you ever went to? Not Dulcimer.
Oh,
I'm going to rule out Dulcimer. Best concert you
okay.
ever went to?
Well, it's kind of already been answered. It was Dolly Parton. When I was 13 years old, I was 13 years old and I got to go to a Dolly Parton concert with my mother. And literally, I'm a 13-year-old kid. I see her on the screen and she's like that big, you know, way off at the other end of the thing. And I'm just bawling and yelling the lyrics the entire concert. Yeah, best concert ever. Such a great entertainer.
If you could hang out with any one artist for a day, and you
Oh
can't be
no.
Dolly Parton. If you were rich and
Well,
famous or
I
whatever
would.
it took to hang out with whoever it was, somebody living, who would you go hang out with for the day?
Oh,
Not
that's
Dolly
hard.
Parton and not
That's
a
hard.
Dulcimer person.
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be Dolly Parton anyway because I would literally freak out, freeze up, and not even be able to speak if I met Dolly Parton. So that would be a total failure. You said not Dulcimer. Wow. Okay. You know,
I'm going to guess
that's
it's not
hard.
Miley Cyrus.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. um, you know, I would say it would be, and this is not because, okay, I'm trying to answer it short. I'm just having a hard time. To me, bluegrass musicians, though I don't play, bluegrass banjo or anything, but to me, bluegrass musicians are some of the best musicians on the planet, bar none. So I would have to say, um, Bill Monroe, Ralph Stanley, Earl Scruggs, any of them. If I could hang out with any of them for a day and get to play with them, I'm sure I would learn a lot. They are absolute, in my book, some of the best musicians out there.
All right. And I'm watching for questions here. Jason asked, would you go hang out with Aubrey for the day? Aubrey Atwater, I'm guessing.
Well,
Of course.
Aubrey plays dulcimer. You said
Yeah,
that's right.
I ruled her out because
Yeah,
she's a Dulcimer player. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You want to go sit and play Dulcimer with Steve Seifert for a day. You will learn something.
yes,
You will learn
yes.
something. And yeah,
Well,
Callie, you asked if she would play Jolene, and copyright issues. She cannot hear on the video. I'm so sorry, but
yeah,
I'm sure it's wonderful. All right,
yeah.
another non-music question. We're finding out more about Mandy because you guys are not asking questions. So I'm working through my list here. I only got a handful left. If you could go back in history and meet any one person, we're going to rule out. We're going to rule out um, the biggest figures. We're going to rule out religious figures. We're going to rule out, so no Jesus, no Mahatma Gandhi, no, he was not a religious figure, but I mean, he is
I'll be
spiritual for so
meeting
many people.
Jesus anyway.
Yeah. If you could go back and meet one person, musical or otherwise,
Oh gosh. Um, wow.
Mandy's going to interview me in a couple weeks. Now I'm dreading it. I should have had her go first.
Yeah, was this your question? Because wow.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone from history. And the hard part about this is for me is it's so on the spot. I don't really have a chance to think about it, and I'm not one of these fast thinkers. I can tell you that. So, who I would want to meet on the spot? Um, does it is it music or not?
Your choice.
Does it matter? Um, hmm. Really? I have to have everything be musical though. So I would probably say somebody like John Denver, something like that. If I could go
Wow.
back and meet him and hang out with him and play with him, that's not that far back or anything like that. And he's not even somebody I adore, but he was a good musician, and so um, all my life, all I want to do now is just be a good musician. I really just want to do that. It's so fun. I love it.
I never would have guessed that. Okay. Jason asked, and I missed this earlier. I wrote it down, but it got lost in my shuffle here. Describe your ultimate dulcimer. And we're making it for Mandy, by the way. That's one that I've got in the works. I'm so far behind on instruments. It's incredible. You guys,
Oh,
it's chaos back in the shop. It's not chaos. It's organized, but we've got instruments up to here. You can't see my hand, but it's way above my head. That's how far back we are. And Mandy's been waiting patiently. I think Bing's last dulcimer took him a year and a half. It's pathetic how backed up we are. What's your ultimate dulcimer?
well, the only problem with that is it's changing. It's like evolving as I go. But really, my ultimate would definitely be a Galax back. It would be. I'm not 100% on wood yet, but I do believe I got recently. Recently, I got this beautiful mahogany back and sides and spruce top dulcimer, and this is an FSH model, and I love it, and I love The sound. I really love that sound. So it would probably be those two woods because also those I can't remember what model they are, but the Martin D18 I want to say, which is a very famous guitar, uses those woods, and it's just a beautiful sound combination. So something like that, radius fretboard, 1.5 fret kind of deal, and I also would want a couple of unique things that I don't even know if Richard would do or has done yet. I know he would do them, but I know you would do them because you're on the cutting edge of everything. But I've got some ideas. So that's pretty much it. I mean, any dulcimer is an awesome dulcimer.
Two of the people you wanted to go back and meet, John Denver and Dolly Parton. John, of course, gone, and Dolly's still making music to this
Yeah.
minute, probably.
Yep.
They both play dulcimer.
Now I've seen Dolly play a dulcimer.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
sparkles and sequins and everything else
Yeah.
all over
Yeah.
it, I'm guessing.
Now I did not know John Denver played a dulcimer.
The
That's
guy
new to
who
me.
wrote the song that we play in jams a lot called Nut Factory Shuffle, it's in Dave Haas's jam book.
Okay.
The guy who wrote that, Gil Anderson, he was working for Folkcraft at the time, but he made after his stint working at Folkcraft when he was independent, he made a dulcimer for John.
That's awesome.
And the last two dulcimers he made one for John Denver and one for himself. That was
Wow.
a duplicate of the John Denver dulcimer, and he still has the one that he made for himself.
Oh, that
But
is so
John
awesome.
Denver's estate still has the other one. As of just
Wow.
within the last couple of years, they still have the instrument that Gil made for John Denver, which is cool.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
That's
all the
very
best
cool.
musicians play dulcimer.
Yes.
Mozart
Absolutely.
probably played dulcimer, even though it was invented 200 years after he died. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but he probably played it. Anyway, so if you go back in history, got that one. What are you
Yeah.
working on musically right now? What is your current project when you get out of bed and you start working on stuff other than the day-to-day making more videos?
Okay, so I'm working on right now what I'm going to be playing at the concert that I'm doing in September after the workshop. I'm working on the workshop. I'm working on, I've got my stuff done for the most recent one that is coming up in August. So the September one, I'm working on pieces, and they're going to be a surprise. So, you know. But yes, I do have particular pieces that I'm trying to get, to performance, to what I would call performance level,
Mm-hmm.
fully arranged stuff. And that is it's really gonna inhibit my YouTube coming up because of that. And that's okay by me because I love it.
So on a 30-minute concert, like after the
Yes.
second Saturday clinic you're doing on the
Yeah.
third Saturday of September.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a story behind that too, but that's okay. That's because Mandy took another gig not far from here on the second Saturday, and yeah. So anyway, so you've got a 30-minute concert to prepare for at following the clinic.
Yeah.
You'll have had a 2-hour jam. You'll have had a 4-hour class.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end of that, when you're all tired and worn out, you have a 30-minute show.
Yep.
How do you prepare for that? Give me the mindset of, do you make a song list? Do you start going through your existing repertoire, trying to piece things together? Tell us how the process, how you do that.
Really, for me, playing all that much in a day is not abnormal. I play a lot, but for that specifically, what is taxing to me is just, figuring out what will be the workshop, that kind of stuff. The jam, that'll be fun, we'll just play. But for that concert, I have never given a half-hour solo concert before. So it's really cool and exciting. It'll be my first ever, full, hey, this is Mandy concert. I've done like a 45-minute thing with John, which is, people don't understand the difference between having two musicians and singers there versus one. There's a big difference. I have a lot of space to fill up if I'm alone. You can kind of lean on that other person a little bit. So, I'll probably, I'm working on the best stuff that I have. I can say that. But I'm also bringing new stuff in as well. I'm trying to polish those pieces. I'm trying to fully arrange those intros, variety, embellishing, endings, all that stuff. I'm trying to just add all that stuff in there. And I've got it nailed down. There's two pieces that I'm going to do that are going to hopefully be a wow kind of thing. So yeah.
So you'll make up a set list, a
Yes,
list of
absolutely.
all the songs you're going to play. You're going to write them down.
Yep. Yep.
Then you're gonna get them in the right order. So you got fast and slow and different keys. You're mixing it up so you can tell
Yep.
the story.
Yeah.
When you practice that, then, so it's going to take you 30 minutes to get through the set.
Yeah.
Do you actually break it down? You start the climb, you start playing, then you actually do you to the dog or to the husband or to the daughter or whatever, do you say, okay, now this next song, I learned this song from Bill Monroe, taught me this when I was 3 years old, or what? You tell the
Yeah.
story. When you're working up the set list, how detailed does an artist get? Do you write the notes down of what you're going to say in between?
I'm pretty sure.
Do you practice it out loud so you can time it and oh, that's 34 minutes, I need to cut 4 minutes? How precise do you get?
I'm pretty sure that every person is different here. That everybody that's going to give a performance is different. So, from my perspective, I like to have just basically my most basic set list in order. Obviously, I've got the key, I've got everything written down. So I'll run through it. Yes, absolutely. I will time it. I will time how much each piece will take me to play, basically. The talking, I'm not really a pro at that yet, believe it or not. So the talking on the performance, I probably need to practice that. I haven't really done that though. I sort of just I want to tell a story a little bit in whatever amount of time I have. So I try to organize my songs based around that story, that I want to convey to people.
Mm-hmm.
So if on 30 minutes, I've got a good little chunk of time there. So I'm gonna tell a little story with each song, and each song will culminate with that story, and it'll go in with that story. So yeah, I will sit in the bedroom probably with the clock and just sort of run through everything that I'm planning and give it a shot multiple times beforehand,
Yeah.
and then I'll be looking at you going, do I have more time? Because I just want to play music. Yeah, I know. I just want to play music. Me and John did a little mini concert one time together, and we literally went in there and we were like, hey, we'd love to meet y'all, but we just want to play some music. So we just played and played and played and played and played. We hardly said a word in between, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. But, this is a more intimate type of thing, so I'll definitely be, talking a little bit there too.
Yeah. So performing after a clinic here at our shop, you'll be 5 feet away from the person in front of you. And the
That's
farthest
awesome.
person will be 15 feet away. I mean, people will be in little
Love it.
circles gathered around. It's very, very intimate, which for a lot of performers, I'm thinking not dulcimer people, but people that are used to performing in coliseums for 10,000 people and 100,000 people would probably freak out being 5 feet away from an audience member who's sitting there looking at them, watching them play. But that's kind of standard for dulcimer players. Now, the week before our second Saturday clinic, which is on the third Saturday of September, you're playing at a big music festival over in Ohio somewhere. Tell us about that. I think that's the week before.
It's actually the week of. That's why
Is the
I asked you
okay?
to move
Oh,
it.
that's the Friday of. Okay.
It's the weekend. It's that whole weekend, and it is the Eagle Creek Fall Festival. I don't
This is a
have the
big deal,
final.
people. Yeah.
Well, I don't have the final word yet as to what exactly I'll be doing. I believe we're going to be doing it. Whatever we do, I think we're going to be on stage, and I believe we're going to be doing it with some members of your dulcimer group.
Okay.
We don't have it finalized yet, but we could possibly be in a booth meeting people as well. But there should be a performance. If that pans out, he was trying to figure out all of his stuff that he was doing before he gave me the 100% on it. But yeah, they say they get 10,000 people to that over the weekend. So I'm really excited about that.
We'll have 30 for your clinic.
All right.
30,
Hey,
not 30,000. Yeah.
well,
So, what is the process for the non-professional performers in the audience here? What is the process? How do you get to play at the Eagle Creek Music Festival with 10,000 people? Do they call you up out of the blue? Do they find your numbers in some directory of performers? How does that work?
well, with the Eagle Creek, that was funny because he actually was on your site and saw me there as an endorsed artist, and he thought that I would be semi-local because of that. So he just reached out to me there through your site and asked me, and so it was a little bit of a surprise to him to find out I'm down here in Georgia. But yeah, I've people have found me through my website. I also have mandytyner.com where I have my calendar and stuff. So there's no lessons there. It's just about me and my calendar and that sort of thing. So I had the Central Florida Dulcimer Fest people, Mr. Dennis Waldrop, reached out to me through my website there to perform and do the workshop down there in Mount Dora. But so yeah, through YouTube, through my websites, and picking up the phone and calling me is what I've gotten so far. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm just enjoying every minute of the ride.
So that's kind of cool how it just works. And
Yeah,
the more people you know, the more famous you get, the more people call you for gigs, and the more famous you get, and it kind of feeds on itself then.
I guess I wouldn't say famous, but I don't know. I'm
I'm
sitting on a porch.
I'm
I'm not
looking at
trying to
I'm
be.
looking at the list of people that are in this room, and they're not famous by your standard. Maybe they're famous. Maybe one of them's a famous appendix surgeon, and one of them is a famous race car driver. I don't know hardly any of these people in person to say that,
Yeah,
but for most of us, we're kind of in awe of you, and that's kind of neat.
that's very cool.
Yeah, it
That's
is, yeah, and that's because of your personality and your skills and your musical ability and all those things put together.
oh,
So I know you like traditional music, and I know you like Carter Family, and I know that you like Dolly Parton. Is there
mhm.
anything else that you want to add? Anything I didn't ask that you're hoping I was going to?
Wow. You know, I'm a child of the '80s, so boy, I love '80s music. I don't play it on Dulcimer, but I love the '80s music. So we aggravate our daughter to death in the car listening to '80s music and stuff like that.
I think 1980s, like putting on the Ritz by Taco, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. Hey, Cyndi Lauper, she was playing a
Yep,
Dulcimer then,
yep, she
and I
was.
didn't know that because I didn't have MTV, and I didn't. If they put her on MTV playing a Dulcimer, I wouldn't have known what it was at that point. But
Yeah, I don't know if she plays in any of the videos or not, but I know she's plays, and she's probably real good at it. She seems to be good at
oh
everything.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Love some '80s music. Anything else? No. I just love to play, and I love to share my joy with others of what I've learned over the years. And that's really what my whole thing is about. It just came about because I felt like I wanted to share, and I've never been to a dulcimer group or anything like that. And,
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to doing that when I meet up with you guys in
Hmm. You'll have
September. So
you'll have to start a club down in your neck of the woods.
yeah, I guess I will. But
All
I'm
right.
gonna, have those kids to play with. So anyway,
Yep. And keep them going. Teach them some
yes,
songs and get out and get together every week and start teaching more songs and get them some technique. And pretty soon
absolutely.
that'll be the Georgia Dulcimer Club in whatever town you're in. Anyway,
Yeah.
I would like to thank all of you for coming and joining us on today's live stream. Um,
Yes.
some amazing questions, a lot of lurkers this time. We had a bunch of people watching. This is one of our biggest ones yet, and that's cool. And hundreds of people will watch this over the next few weeks. A lot of people will see this, and that's totally cool. But
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you all for coming, and especially
Yes.
Mandy. Thank you. This has been an awesome interview. I've had fun, and we got to
Yeah.
be asked all kinds of really nosy questions, and
Yeah.
and that's all I can say. Thank you very much. Hope you all have a super weekend. And Mandy, thank you.
Well, you know what? Thank you. And I'm going to get you on one of these interviews pretty soon. So be prepared for that.
Next live stream you're doing
next week.
Sam Edelston. Next Friday?
Yes. Next Friday, Sam Edelston. That'll be awesome too. So
I'll say Sam is kind of good. That was hyperbole, by the way. I'm not knocking Sam at all. He's utterly amazing. And Sam's specialty is playing contemporary music. He does a lot of stuff from the 70s and 80s and 90s, like rock music on Dulcimer. He's Mr. Viral, millions of views on YouTube and everything else. He's utterly cool. But anyway,
awesome.
That's what we got. Thank you again. Yep.
Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. Bye. See you next time.